settle in and everyone to join. Taking some time to come to your practice, come to your mat, our gentle yoga program for this afternoon. I'm Candace. Welcome. So for our practice this afternoon, it's recommended, if it's available to you, to have some props nearby just in case you choose to use them. And I'm going to suggest having a few yoga blocks if accessible, and perhaps even a yoga strap. If you prefer to start your practice sitting up nice and tall, you can find a bolster or a cushion, or perhaps you could even use one of those blocks to just sit your seat on to begin to bring your hips a little bit higher than your knees. So just take a moment there, make sure whatever it is that you need is close by, within arm's reach. I'm happy that you chose to join me. It's such a beautiful sunny day. Wonderful. So sitting up nice and tall on your mat, perhaps on your bolster or your block, allow your knees to fall wide. Gently take your hands to rest on the thigh. If it feels comfortable, offering the palms up towards the ceiling. Softness through your fingers, your shoulders melt down your spine. A gentle lift out of the crown of your head. You've arrived. Just allowing your lips to gently touch, your eyes to soften, maybe even fully close. Begin to feel the breath moving in and out of your body, and at this point not quite trying to change it, just simply observing what that sensation feels like within your body. Every exhale, you begin to sink a little bit deeper onto your mat. Your weight falls heavier on your sitting bones, through your thighs, low back space. Maybe your shoulders soften a little bit more. Softness through the jaw, through the breath, effortlessly here, moving in and out of your body. And as we settle, taking awareness still on that breath and noticing perhaps where in your body this breath is falling most heavily. Where do you sense it? Where do you feel it? Some of us, that might be in through the belly space. Others might find a gentle rise and fall of the chest. Just settling awareness onto that physical sensation within your body as to where you most heavily feel breath. Can you sink awareness even deeper into this space? Noticing here as we shift awareness inwards, how your body begins to soften a little bit further. Taking awareness away now from the breath, more so into our physical body, and noticing again where it is that you're feeling sensation. Maybe it's a little muscle ache in through the thighs, or some soreness in through the back. And if that's something that resonates with you, or you can find that physical space where we feel sensation in our bodies, let's try to marry awareness of that breath into that awareness, or physical space rather, where we feel sensation. And I wonder if we can begin to use that sensation, or use the breath rather, to soften awareness and soften space around that sensation. So for example, if that low back space is craving awareness, can you direct the breath into that space? Can you soften even further? Really allowing yourself here to melt down and to let go, knowing that you're fully supported here in this space. If you haven't done so, let's begin to allow that breath now to move in and out of our nose. Keeping your jaw nice and soft. Breath is flowing in and out. Moving into our Dirga breath of the yoga 3-part breath. The inhale begins to fill the lower abdomen, right below the belly button and pausing at the top. Exhale, can you draw the navel in, perhaps pull up a little bit through the pelvic floor. Belly guides towards the spine. So staying here with that inhale, filling up just the lower 1/3 of our bellies. The inhale finds some lift through the abdominal space. The exhale sinks everything heavier into your mat. Building on that breath, in your next inhale, let's begin to float breath up through that low belly space. Moving in towards the rib cage, feel a little bit of expansion as you find space for breath. And then when you're ready to exhale, softening, releasing, belly draws in, pelvic floor lifts up. Little contraction. And staying here, building on those 2 parts, lower 1/3, mid-abdomen, finding fullness. When you're ready to inhale next, let's begin to draw right into that full Dirga. So low belly, abdomen, invite that breath to float all the way up to the collarbones. The biggest breath you've taken all day long. And then exhale, soften through the shoulders, release through the midsection, and soften through the belly space. So staying here, in and out. Not rushing the breath, being present with the entire length of the inhale and the entire length of the exhale. Then noticing here as we've moved into a more controlled breath, how that changes the awareness of sensation once again within your physical body. Where do you most heavily feel the sensation of breath moving in and out? We're really not looking to judge that. We're simply becoming aware of how the movement of our breath changes the sensations or the physical form of our body, and how we can use that breath to begin to draw softness and release. So we'll stay here, Dirga breath, for another few rounds, whatever your breath looks like. Knowing that the breath is the anchor for our gentle yoga practice, or our yoga practice in general, really. We can always use it to anchor us back to this very moment. Your mind begins to wander, that's okay. Guide it back, bring it back to the breath. And as always, in my yoga classes, I always encourage you to do what works for your body. Everything I'm offering is simply that, it's an offering. If it doesn't feel great, feel free to modify, do whatever works for you. From here, beginning to draw some small movements in your hands, maybe wiggling the fingers, rolling them to make a fist, taking the thumb around, and then with the thumb squeezing in, begin to take some circles through the wrists. Take an inhale, bring the arms overhead, spread the fingers with intention, and at the top allow the palms to touch. Softly guiding back down through heart center with an exhale. From there, allow your hands to come and reach the mat. Simply remove any bolster or any block or prop that you had underneath your sitting bones. And then in your own way, let's gently begin to guide our bodies down to the mat. And then from there, let's offer the ankles slightly higher or wider than our hips. Coming down onto the back, taking the arms beside the body with your palms facing up towards the ceiling. If there's any low back issues, feel free to take the soles of the feet to the mat, and if you choose to do so, offer the knees inwards towards one another. Okay. So taking a moment here in stillness on our mats, your feet are falling wide. Feel the weight of your body releasing to the floor. Still staying present with our Dirga breath. Notice how the sensation may have changed now that we're on our backs. Can you take a sip more of breath as you find full expansion through the midsection? Notice the space in the low back as it releases from the mat. And then as you exhale, soften heavy into wherever your body is touching the floor. Inhale, find some lightness through the front side of the body. And then exhale, find depth. Sink a little bit deeper, really let it all go. Next time you exhale, let's float our awareness to the tops of our toes. Beginning to point and flex the feet. Maybe they rock a little bit here side to side. It may feel nice to take some circles through the ankle joints. Notice how the knees want to follow the ankles, the hips begin to get involved. Take that next exhale, soften the lower body and shift awareness to the edges of all fingers. Begin to curl the fingers in, make small movements through the hands. Maybe we roll the wrists, perhaps you choose to make a fist, the elbows bend. Maybe you begin to rock your head a bit side to side. Wiggle your jaw. Let's take that next inhale to find full length in the body. So when you're ready, inhale, point the toes, bring the arms overhead. Take that good morning stretch. Feel the low back release away from the mat and your shoulders fall heavy. Exhale, soften everything down. Inhale, find that contraction, lengthen from top to bottom. Sink weight into the sitting bones. Exhale, softness. Take that next inhale to take one last good morning stretch here. Can you find a little more length? And then when you're ready to exhale, we're going to soften the body down to the mat. Your knees run in towards your chest. Your arms are going to rock all the way around to take hold of the back of the thighs, maybe onto the shins. And before we offer any movement here, let's become aware of that low back space. Can you tuck the tailbone towards the bottom of the mat so that we're lengthening the bottom of our spine? So full connection there in the base. With the knees drawn in, our thighs squeezing in towards one another, let's begin to take some small circles with the knees. You can allow your arms to help facilitate that movement if you'd like. Noticing the breath here. Noticing the rise and the fall of the glutes as we rock side to side. When you come through center next, pause there, take a deep inhale, nice and full. And on the exhale, begin to take those knees in the opposite direction. Noticing the crown of our head here. Can you find a little more extension? A gentle tuck to the chin. Coming through center, pausing, and then using that exhale to take the soles of our feet down to the mat, hip distance apart. Pressing into the feet, extend the arms nice and wide, shoulder height or lower. And if possible, offering the palms up to the ceiling with the fingers spread nice and wide. Lots of intention there. Offer an inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, let's take the knees over to the right. Your gaze is neutral still. Inhale, floating the knees up. Exhale, taking them to the opposite side. See here if we can flow with our breath. So the inhale floats our knees center. The exhale is going to take them to the opposite side. So being mindful of the length of the breath. If that breath takes 4 seconds to come in, we're going to take that whole 4 seconds to draw the knees up. Allowing this movement to generously be guided by our breath, not the other way around. It might feel nice here to begin to allow the head to turn in the opposite direction of our knees. Continuing to extend through all the fingers, our shoulders remain glued to the mat. Whenever your knees release over to the right next, I'll ask that you pause there. The option of keeping the gaze neutral towards the ceiling or offering it over that left palm. Breathing here through our left side body. See if we can find even more weight in through the thighs. Notice the gentle lift through the chest as you continue to extend through all fingers. Beginning to transition over to the opposite side. On the inhale, everything comes center. And then on the exhale, you release now, knees to the left. Gaze either neutral or to the right. Feeling the weight of gravity on that right side body. Beginning to expand and create some space through the rib cage. Still staying full with our breath. Inhale, begin to release by taking the knees and gaze up through center. And then once you're there, you can feel free to bring them in towards your chest. Hug them nice and tight, maybe squeeze the thighs and rock side to side. Beautiful. Using that exhale, invite the soles of our feet to once again come to meet the mat. And then let's walk them as close to our body as comfortable. Knees are still about hip width apart. Arms can be released by the side body, palms up, or if you prefer, you can take them down to the mat with the palms facing down. And just for a moment there, become aware once again of that low back space. Can we really draw it into the mat by lifting up through that low belly space? Invite an inhale through your nose, and on the exhale, we're going to begin to press through the feet and lift the hips about an inch or so away from the mat. Doesn't have to be very much, and we're going to hold once we get there. Begin to squeeze the glutes, feel the engagement or lift of the thighs, press through our feet. So hands are either into the mat, maybe they're beside the body. When you're ready to exhale next, slowly begin to release the spine back down to your mat. And once it connects, offer a generous inhale. Use the exhale to once again press through the feet, but maybe this time the hips come a little bit further away. You're welcome to stay wherever you need to be for this. Engagement through the glutes. Thighs are squeezing nice and strong, pressing through the feet. Maybe we come a little bit higher. Your gaze is neutral towards the belly space, a gentle tuck to the chin, watching the rise and the fall of your breath. When you're ready to exhale, as if you're trying to get one vertebrae at a time to connect with the mat, we begin to release back down. Tailbone tucks, low spine connects with the mat. Offer an inhale. We'll do that one last time. Exhaling, pressing to the feet. If your hands are pressing into the mat, draw the shoulders away from the ears, squeeze the glutes. Holding as long as you feel you need to. Your breath is still nice and full, even length of inhale and exhale. When you're ready to release, you're going to do so on an exhale. Begin to release the spine back down, and once it's all the way connected, if it feels nice, you can bring the knees in towards the body to release. Maybe that little bit of a rock side to side if you choose. So feeling the weight of your spine, completely surrendering to your mat. You're so supported here. Exhale, take the soles of our feet down to the mat, hip distance apart. Reset. On the inhale, bring that right knee in towards the body. Your hands come behind the right thigh. Exhale, lengthen that right leg up towards the ceiling. And then flex the foot, point the toes. Feeling the length and the contraction of the leg, the right leg. Maybe it feels nice to take some small circles through the ankle joint. Noticing here the pelvis or the low spine, allowing that right thigh to be super heavy so that the pelvis can be neutral on our mat or evenly rooted. On the inhale next, we're going to press up through that right heel. And then on the exhale, we're going to slowly begin to release that long lengthened leg down towards the mat, coming to about an inch or so above the mat. Inhale, bend the knee, point the toe, draw the knee back in towards the body. Exhale, lengthen up towards the ceiling, flex the foot. And then following your breath pattern here. So finding that long leg, releasing down towards the mat. Inhale, point the toes, draw the knee in. Exhale, lengthen up. Releasing down. We'll take that for one more cycle, following your own breath. And then the next time your leg is lengthened up towards the ceiling, we're going to pause there, meet all together. Toes are drawing towards the shin. Thigh is heavy, maybe a slight bend in the knee or a fully lengthened leg. Use that next exhale to draw the right knee in towards the body and then cross the ankle to come and rest perhaps on the left thigh or maybe onto the shin. So whatever is available for you today. The right knee is going to press towards the bottom of the mat. The toes are drawn up and either choosing to stay here for reclined pigeon or looking through that space you created, threading that right hand through. Left hand comes around to the back of the left thigh. We begin to draw the knee in towards our body. Good. And if you're here, allowing that left ankle to fall heavy towards the sitting bones. Good. Maybe your hands come onto the shin, so long as the shoulders are soft and away from your ears. And just noticing here where you feel sensation in your body. For some of us, it might be the right glute, the low back space. And as we hold here, seeing if it's available to take our breath into that area where we feel the physical sensation. Can you imagine the breath fully releasing any tightness, any maybe uncomfortable sensation at this point? We'll take another round of breath here, in and out. Big breath through your nose. If you've taken that left knee in towards the body, you're going to mindfully release that foot back down to the mat. And then in your own time, taking the right foot down beside the left, and then let's lengthen our legs, side by side. Just take a moment here. Hands can be wherever they need to be. And just notice the difference from the side we've worked to the side that's to come. How is the sensation different? Take another inhale. Draw the knees in towards the body. Hands wherever they need to be for support. And then exhale, soles of the feet down to our mat, hip distance apart. Take a moment first to get rooted onto your mat. Make whatever adjustments you need. And for a moment, let's just begin to feel that left foot on the mat. We'll prime the body for movement. When you're ready, inhale, draw the left knee now in towards the body. Hands can come behind the thigh. Exhale, lengthen that left leg up towards the ceiling and allow the thigh to be heavy. Nice neutral pelvis on the floor. Optional bend in the knee or full extension through the leg. Beginning to point and flex your foot. So lots of purpose here with our movements. Deep, deep awareness on the sensation or feeling that they bring to our physical bodies. Observing how we can use breath to direct or change perhaps the sensation. On the inhale, draw the toes up, press generously out through the heel. Prepping for a little movement here. On the exhale, begin to release that lengthened leg down to the mat. Inhale, point the toes, draw the knee in toward the body. Exhale, lengthen up, flex the foot. So following your breath rate here. There's no rush. Trying your best not to worry too much about the inhale, the exhale, where we're pairing movement. Just remembering to breathe nice and full. Pair the breath with the movement. We'll do this one last time. And the next time your leg is lengthened up towards the ceiling, we'll pause there. Hands can come behind the thigh for a little support. Pressing up through the heel, lots of energy through that extended leg. Exhale, soften the knee, cross the ankle to come either onto that right thigh or onto the shin. Whatever works in your body. Left toes are drawing up, left knee is pressing away from the body. Holding here. And maybe on this side body, this is where we're at for now. If you'd like to extend a little further, threading through that space we've created, right hand comes to the outside, right foot surrenders down towards our sitting bone. Settling into reclined pigeon. Maybe you find a little more depth by taking the hand onto the shin. Noticing the shoulders if they want to round forward or if they want to collapse down into the mat. Just keep them away from the ears, always drawing down, continuing to extend through the spine even in our reclined poses. Noticing again where we feel this pose or the sensation in our bodies. Maybe it feels a little different on this side compared to the other. So you continuing to hold there for another couple of breaths in and out. Okay. And then using that next exhale to slowly begin to release. Right foot comes to connect with the mat, left comes to meet. And then from there, lengthening both legs to the bottom of your mat. Just taking a moment to feel the sensation or whatever feeling you have there in the lower body. Perhaps taking a moment here to reconnect with this space or with your breath if your mind's wandered away. Reconnecting with Dirga breath in and out. When you're ready to inhale next, let's point the toes, bring the arms overhead, take that good morning stretch. And then exhale, let's draw the knees in towards the body, hug them tight, rock onto your favorite side, take that top hand, press it into the floor, and come all the way up to our seated position. It's our easy pose. The option of taking a bolster or block, guiding that underneath your sitting bones if you'd like. Softening the gaze or maybe closing the eyes fully. Finding that length through our spine, the lift out of the crown of our head. Inhale, let's bring the arms overhead, spread the fingers, lots of intention through the hands. Fingers graze one another. Exhale, let's come down through center. Inhale, gentle lift to the heart as you bring the arms overhead. And this time on the exhale, let's take the right hand down beside the body and extend out through the left fingers. Really pressing that left sitting bone into the mat, finding that juicy stretch through the side body. Inhale, let's float the arms all the way overhead. Exhale, right over to the opposite side. So left hand comes down, right arm extends. It's rooted, even sit bones all on the mat. Inhale, come up. Let's exhale into a seated twist. So left arm sweeps across the body, right arm behind. Let's see about marrying or taking the fingers close to the low spine. Inhale, lift out of the crown of our head. And then exhale, maybe the gaze looks over your back shoulder. So being mindful of not pulling yourself into the twist, but allowing it to build. Low belly, mid belly, shoulders, gaze. So take what you need here. When you're ready to inhale, next begin to unwind in the opposite direction. The gaze comes forward, shoulders. Begin to unwind through the core. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, releasing to the other side. Back supporting hand comes close to the low spine. And gradually deciding if you'd like to build into the twist. Maybe your gaze is offered over the back shoulder. Noticing constriction of your breath in our twist. We're continuing to breathe nice and full. Slowly beginning to unwind head, shoulders, midsection. And then taking that inhale, offering the fingers up towards the ceiling. Turn the palms forward, and then on your exhale, release forward. Guiding the tailbone towards the back of the mat. Your fingers walk away from the body. The option of nice length in the arms or perhaps a bent elbow, both are perfect. Allow the forehead to fall heavy, being mindful of the compression through the back of the neck. But as much as comfortable, let's allow that front body to surrender down to the floor in front of us. If you have a block and you want to rest your forehead on something, feel free to take that block on its tall end. Allow your forehead to rest on the block. And just notice if you've chosen to do that, how that changes the sensation, how that changes the fold. Okay? As we hold here, using every exhale to see if we can find a little more space to surrender. If you've offered a block on the forehead, we'll gently remove it off to the side. And then on the inhale, press through the fingertips. Begin to walk the hands in towards the body, stacking the spine once again. Good. And then from there, softening the shoulders down. Full inhale, full exhale. And then taking the next inhale to find your way into all fours, tabletop pose. So for our tabletop, we want our wrist to come directly underneath our shoulders or near direct. Our knees to come underneath their hips. And it's up to you. Some people like to have their ankles in line with the knees, but others prefer to have the toes coming in towards one another. So find that space where you feel most balanced or most supported. Fingers are spread nice and wide. The pointers are actually pointing forward. And then a gentle lift through the palm of our hands here. Okay, like you're kind of gripping away at the mat. Trying to avoid that scoop in that low back space, so engaging through the low belly. So gentle tuck to the tailbone, lift up through the midsection and low belly space. So a little contraction there. So holding here with a nice long spine, take an inhale through your nose. And then on the exhale, we're going to tuck the chin, arch the spine, allow the tailbone to fall heavy for cat. Inhale, tilting the pelvis, soften the belly, floating the heart forward. Your gaze comes slightly towards the top of the mat for cow. So following the exhale to move you into cat, and your inhale to move you into cow. Okay. So again, trying to pair that movement with the breath and the flow in which it's moving right now. And again, try not to think so much about it. Allow it to come fairly organically. You know, some people really love to have a little bit of free movement here as we go through cat and cow. And I'll always encourage that. So keeping the hands where they are, the knees and the tops of the feet. Maybe you choose to make some circles through the hips. Maybe you want to move your spine in a wave-like motion. So some variation or some form here of cat and cow, and whatever movement your body needs in this moment. As long as you're continuing to breathe, nice and full, purposeful movement here. We'll take this free movement, a cat-cow variation, for another full round of breath, in and out. And then on the inhale, coming back through a neutral spine or tabletop pose. Let's invite the big toes to come together. Maybe take the knees a little bit wider than how they already are. And then exhale, pressing the hips back to the heels. Arms can be lengthened or elbows can be bent. Move into child's pose. The forehead can come down to the mat. If you prefer to have it lifted a little bit, you can grab onto your block and take that in front. Allow the forehead to rest. Okay. So noticing in your child's pose what's working for you. Okay, so it's really a wonderful spot to come to reconnect to breath, to reconnect to our physical body. Good. So finding where we can surrender maybe a little bit deeper here. Can you find a little more weight, maybe through the forehead space or through the hips as they energetically draw back towards your heels? And knowing we can always come to this pose. If you've taken a block underneath your forehead, mindfully releasing it to the side. And then from there, everybody feeling the tips of their fingers on the mat. Take the inhale to guide the gaze forward. Let's come all the way back up into tabletop pose. So knees under hips, feet long, wrists nearly under shoulders. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, we're going to lengthen the right toes to the back of the mat. So pressing out through the heel here with lots of intention. Begin to light up that right glute. Notice if that right hip's wanted to open up, and if so, drawing it back down, holding it nice and strong so it's in line with the left hip. So we're first focusing here on lengthening out through the back of the leg. From here, if you'd like to take it a little bit further, let's float the toes about an inch or so away from the mat. Lifting up through the core, pelvic floor is engaged. Exhale, take the toes down. Invite an inhale as we find extension through the leg. And then on the exhale, if you choose to, floating the toes maybe 2 inches or so away from the mat. So long as that hip, or the hip region, is closed to the short edge of your mat, or neutral spine. Neutral pelvis, rather. When you're ready to exhale, take the toes down to the mat. Take the inhale, find that extension. And then when you're ready, maybe one last time, we float the toes a little bit further. Notice if you're wanting to scoop in through that low back space, and if so, contract through the belly to keep it nice and strong. And then when you're ready to exhale, Gently, mindfully release the toes back down. Knee comes to meet the left. Maybe take a few hip circles there if you'd like. Find release how you need. Maybe you choose to come up and give the wrist a bit of a roll. So when you're ready, you'll make your way back into your tabletop pose, please. So first, finding that nice strong alignment. Crown of the head extends forward, gaze slightly in front of the hands. When you're ready to exhale, we're going to take the left toes now to the back of the mat. So first, focusing on finding that length, that neutral pelvis, shoulders away from the ears. When you're ready, you can lift the toes about an inch or so away from the mat. Be mindful of not losing that contraction or that length in the back of the leg. Exhale, slowly take the toes to come and meet the mat once again. Inhale, full, and then exhale, maybe the toes come a little bit further this time. Your big toe is pointing down towards the mat. It's the heel that's lifting away. Then exhale, take the toes to touch. Lengthen on the inhale, and then on your exhale, pelvic floor contracts, low belly is engaged. Maybe we take the toes a little bit further away. And then on your exhale, lengthening everything back down to the mat, inviting the big toes to come together, knees come wide. Exhale back into child's pose. So finding whatever variation or version of child's pose you need. If you need your block, make sure that's accessible there. Maybe you give the hips a little bit of a wiggle here. Can you find more length through the spine? Can you surrender the front side of your body even more so to the mat beneath you? So really thinking here in our class this afternoon about what we can release and what we can let go of. Just for a moment here, let's feel the tips of our fingers on the mat. Just feel the sensation, priming the body for movement. On the inhale, we're going to look up between our hands. And then on the exhale, let's begin to walk the fingers over towards the left. So your sitting bones stay right where they are. We're simply drawing movement into the right side body. The option of keeping full extension in the arms. If you prefer, you can bend the elbows. And maybe you can allow the head or forehead to come down to the mat. Okay? So bringing in a little bit of a lateral side stretch here, much like we did in our seated forward fold at the start of our practice. Can you walk the fingers over a little bit more, finding more space? Press through the fingers. On an inhale, lift the gaze. Begin to walk your hands back through neutral. Pause there. When you're ready to exhale, next we're going to take the fingers over towards the right. Drawing stretch in through our left side body. And you decide, elbows can be long, you can have a generous bend in them. You can keep the gaze lifted, or perhaps you can release the forehead down towards the floor. Okay, just be mindful of any pressure at the back of your neck. Surrendering the front side of our bodies even closer to the mat beneath us. Press through the fingertips. Inhale, offer the gaze forward. Walk your hands back through center. Take your traditional child's pose for a full breath. And then on the inhale, beginning to walk the hands in towards the body. stacking the spine. Invite the knees in towards one another. Come on to either side, onto the sitting bones, and then from there, we'll extend the legs out in front of us. Beautiful. So the option here, having your knees bent, or having your legs fully extended, maybe offering a bolster underneath your sitting bones, or a block underneath your hips. Either way, finding that place where you feel that you can get some extension once again in through the backside of our body. So we're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are soft. Let's inhale, bring the arms overhead. On the exhale, let's begin to reach forward. Draw the low belly space in, and then reach the fingers a little bit more. Pause with the wrist in line with our shoulders. Exhale, invite the hands to come and land wherever they may. Be mindful of putting any pressure onto the knees or onto the ankles. But as we find our seated forward fold, in this class at least, let's focus on leading with the chest and continuing to have that length in our upper spine versus rounding forward to reach. So sitting up nice and tall, chest is what's leading. It doesn't matter if our hands get anywhere close to our toes. Maybe here you soften the gaze, or you choose to fully close your eyes. Noticing here sensation again that comes up in our physical body. Noticing here where we feel the pose most heavily as we hold in stillness. Maybe you have more space to find with every exhale. We'll take another round of breath here, in and out. Inhaling, beginning to release the pose by walking the hands in towards our body, stacking the spine. And then from there, let's offer the soles of our feet to come to touch. Getting into seated cobbler's pose. So it's up to you how close you'd like your heels to be to your body. Okay, so do what works. Do where you can find release. If you have your blocks handy, you'd like to take them underneath the knees for added support, feel free to do so. Your hands resting, we're comfortable, just being mindful of putting any pressure onto the joints. And then taking the inhale to find that lift once again out through the crown of our head, chins in line with the floor beneath. The exhale to find some heaviness in through the thighs. So every inhale, looking for lightness, a little lift. Every exhale, seeing if we can release a little bit further. Fully supported here. Feeling the rise and the fall of your breath. Low belly, mid belly, all the way up to the collarbone. Let's wrap awareness of our breath down the shoulders, mid back, low spine. So picturing that breath coming in the front side of our body, building all the way up to the collarbone. And then exhaling, wrapping it over the shoulders, drawing some weight, releasing in through the sitting bones. Whenever you're ready, We'll invite the knees to come in towards one another, so moving whatever props you've used off to the side. Once your knees draw inwards, you can take your hands behind your low spine and gently begin to guide yourself onto your back. Once again on the mat. And then once you're there, your knees can come in towards your body. Hug them generously close. Maybe a little bit of a rock here, side to side. Whatever comes fairly organically here. Don't think about it too much. Just honor whatever your body's craving at this time. Take a moment here to do whatever stretch is going to feel great. So slowly preparing to move ourselves into Shavasana. Taking whatever you might need to be comfortable in our final pose of our time together today. Eventually, allowing the feet to fall nice and long. Let's take them slightly wider than the hips here. Excuse me. Creating some space in through the pelvic region there. Your hands beside your body. And let's take up a little more space than you feel you ought to. So let's take them further away from our bodies. Palms up towards the ceiling, so the back of our hands are resting on the mat. Maybe a gentle rock side to side of our head. Release through the jaw. And whenever you're ready, taking your body into full stillness. Adjusting as you need to, but ultimately looking to find that place of total release and total comfort. And if you haven't done so already, releasing any control of your breath. No longer feeling the need to control the length of the inhale or the exhale. It's simply flowing in and out of your body now as it intends to do. Shifting awareness to the entire back side of our body, starting with the heels, coming up to the backs of the knees, the thighs, the glutes, the low spine, away from the mat, and once again in the mid-spine where it connects to the mat, all the way up to the shoulders, out through the backs of our hands. Maybe the fingers lengthen a little more. Note the space on the back of your head where your weight falls most heavily. And sinking, deepening our surrender into those touch points. Our body's so fully supported here on the mat. And then taking awareness to our breath that once again is moving just so naturally in and out. Noticing the quality of that breath. Noticing if it comes with ease. Noticing where in your physical body you feel that sensation of breath. And then taking an exhale to just let it all go. The need to control, the need to observe, just shift it all away for the time being. Here all together, we'll take some time to simply breathe. beginning to feel the outer edges of your body. And in your own time, beginning to take tiny movements through your hands and through your feet. And in your own time, taking your knees in towards the chest, and then once they're there, hugging them in so nice and close. Eventually taking or making your way onto your favorite side. And once you're there, taking a handful of breath. There's absolutely no rush. Knees are drawing in, head cradled in your upper arm. Eventually taking your way all the way up to a seated pose, easy position. If comfortable, participating in the community breath. Inhaling, bringing the arms overhead. At the top, allow the fingers to touch. Exhaling, coming down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me this afternoon. Be well.